I hit Pocahontas way too early. I thought she was gone. She's emerged from the ashes. And now it looks like she could beat Sleepy Joe. He's fallen asleep. He has no idea what the hell he's doing or saying.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today I bring you a recap of the third official Democratic presidential debate, which was held on Thursday, September the 12th, 2019 in Houston, Texas, on the campus of TSU, which is an historically black college. Now, there is a lot to quote-unquote unpack here, as the cool kids would say, but first, let me give you a list of the presidential hopefuls that were on stage in order of their speaking time, and I'll place those times on the screen before you. First, we have Joe Biden, then Pocahontas, Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Edge, whatever his name is, Julián Castro, Amy Klobuchar, Beto, a.k.a. Bobby Frank, O'Rourke, and Andrew Yang Gang. Now, you can see by the speaking times who was favored by the media and who was not. Notable absence here is Tulsi Gabbard, and we can pretty much guess why she was not there, but we'll move on from that. Now, I'm not really sure where to begin. This debate was interesting at times, and other times it was a snooze fest. It was like, okay, can I get my pillow, please? Put my head down, take a little nap right now because it got really boring. There were some protesters that were there. I guess they wanted to abolish ICE. I heard them protesting, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. I read afterwards that they were, I think it was anti-ICE and then also pro-DACA or anti-DACA. I'm not really sure. Either way it goes, they were there. They interrupted Joe Biden speaking, which he did a lot. And also, shout out to President Trump for being the ultimate troll, but also a master at marketing. He had a plane fly by the venue, I think, right before the debate started. And on that plane was a banner. And it said, "Socialism will kill Houston's economy. Vote Trump 2020. And then at the end of the banner, like on a little tail, there was a number to text. So that was fantastic. Loved it. And I think it did that before, not with the plane, but there was one debate where it was on YouTube. And he took out a whole front page ad on YouTube. So if you went to youtube.com on that day or that moment when the debate was happening, you were to see this big Trump 2020 banner with his picture and some links and some more stuff. So he's a master troll and a master marketer. But let's get into the debate here. Let's start with the quote-unquote front runner, and that'd be Creepy Uncle Joe. Now, it can be kind of funny to see him stumble and bumble and falter through a debate like right here when he almost lost his chompers.
If you couldn't get it done after Sandy Hook, why should voters give you another chance?
Because it got done before. I'm the only one up here who's ever beat the NRA.
That can be funny, but at the same time, to see him really struggle to get through his words, to bridge thoughts together, it's sad. Obviously, he's dealing with some mental issues. It's very clear. People trying to say, oh, it's just gas, it's just Biden being Biden. No. What you have right here, I think, is some early onset dementia, Alzheimer's or something like that. And to further kind of prove my theory would be what he said about, kids and how to raise them up. Check this out.
We bring social workers into homes of parents to help them deal with how to raise their children. It's not that they don't want to help. They don't know quite what to do. Play the radio. Make sure make sure you have the record player on at night, the phone. Make sure the kids hear words. A kid coming from a very poor school, or a very poor background, will hear 4 million words fewer spoken by the time they get there.
That reference right there, he almost said phonograph too. That reference goes back to like the 60s and the 70s. Okay, we are almost into 2020. That is a very long time ago. Most people right now, kids that are coming up, have never seen a record player before, let alone would know how to actually use it or really what's going on with it or what it is. Okay, he has old references, can't bridge thoughts together. The man is having some cognitive issues, some serious mental problems. People that love him, his family, his team should just say, okay, look, you're the front runner. You can raise the most money right now, but you need to just step down because your health is not getting any better. He did not do good on stage. He looked worse in this debate, which he always has been looking worse in every debate that he goes out. Before the debate process happened, he was like the clear and away front runner, but now he's dipped down to like everybody else. And at a certain point, he'll dip below people like Pocahontas, Kamala Harris, etc. Speaking about Pocahontas, she did okay in this debate. Like I said, at a certain point, it was kind of a snooze fest. She did not appear to be too extreme, much more extreme than anybody else really on stage. I guess she did okay. The performance was not necessarily one that stood out, but it also didn't stand out in a negative way either. So I guess she pretty much solidified her position, which could at a certain point become the front runner. Then you have Cory Booker. He was kind of strange on stage. Towards the end, everybody gave their kind of closing statement about adversity, things that they've gone through, this, that, and the third. He was talking about how he lives in a low-income area, and he's seen a lot of different things and whatnot. Okay, first of all, Cory, you grew up in a nice two-parent household with parents that were IBM executives. You literally had a silver spoon in your mouth. Okay, you went to Stanford, and nothing wrong with that. I'm not trying to shame him for that, but I don't want to hear this whole, I live in the poor black community, this, that, and the third. You choose to live there, sir. That is your prerogative. That's your choice to live there. He was trying to hinge his whole thing on that rather than what he can actually bring to the table, okay? And speaking of people hinging on certain things and not bringing things to the table, Kamala Harris did exactly that. She spent a lot of time speaking about Trump and how he's bad. You know, the whole orange man bad, that was her whole thing throughout much of the debate. But not much about what she would actually do for American people if she were to get into office. I didn't hear much about her actual plan, her stated course of action. I didn't hear anything about that. It was more about orange man bad. Okay. Her record as prosecutor was brought up a little bit, but kind of indirectly. And she was trying to defend it, talking about things she did were positive. But she also was the top cop. A lot of lefties at this point don't like police. So it'd be kind of hard for her to really defend that when she's really out there on the campaign trail if she were to become the nominee. I think the same thing with Amy Klobuchar. Was she prosecutor as well? I think she may have been. And she kind of had similar talking points as Kamala Harris. I'm not really sure why Klobuchar is here because I don't really hear her name at any point in time except for during the debate when she's on stage. So I have no clue who's funding her, who is really in the Amy Klobuchar hive, who is a fan of hers at all, but she's still here. How long is she going to be here? How long will she be in the race? I have no idea, but she's still here for right now. Who else? Oh, we got to talk about Bobby Frank, a.k.a. Beto, talking about we're going to have a mandatory AR-15 and AK-47 buyback. I think not, sir. Come and take it. That's pretty much how many of us are going to look at you when you say something like that. He's also a phony and a liar because when he was trying to become the senator in Texas last year, he was talking about, oh, if you have an AR, keep an AR and be responsible with it, this, that, and the third. So you went from saying keep your AR-15 and be responsible to now we're going to take that from you by force of the state. You know, that's a big difference from what you said back then. Now, his excuse will be, oh, well, at that particular point in time, we did not have the Texas mass shootings in El Paso and Odessa. Okay, but you have shootings every day all over the United States. So it took two incidents that were very tragic. I'm not trying to downplay them, but it took two incidents to change your mind. That make a lot of sense to me. It seems like you'll just say whatever you think you have to say to get elected, to get attention. Because when you're in Texas and you're trying to become the senator, you cannot run on an anti-gun campaign. That'll pretty much just kill it. Even the lefties in Texas want to keep their guns. Many of them do. Most of them do, I would assume. So you can't do that in Texas. But if you're trying to become the president and you realize that everybody's far to the left, you say, okay, take all the guns away. That's the extreme message. And speaking about extreme messaging, you have, what's my man's name? Bernie Sanders talking about, oh, well, I'm a socialist, but you can't compare it to Venezuela, compare it to Scandinavia and Canada. It's like, wait a minute, sir. You want to talk about places where things are going good, where there's elements of socialism at, but you don't want to talk about places where things are going bad. You know, what's wrong with Venezuela? Like, why not talk about them and their socialism. Why not? At one point, they were a rich country. It was a great place to be, but now people are starving, don't have toilet paper, basic, necessity items that they need every day. Same thing with Cuba. Why not talk about those places? Why talk about quote unquote Scandinavia or Canada? It's weird how people like Bernie Sanders would talk about white man bad, orange man bad, is that and the third. But then when they talk about their policies, they only want to mention white countries. But I'll move on from that. I digress. Who else here? Boo Edge didn't really do well. Didn't really say much. He was talking about how he's gay and how that was a hindrance to him, and orange man bad, kind of the same old thing. I didn't really hear much from him. If he did talk, it might have been during the point in time where it was so boring during the debate, I almost got my pillow and went to bed, so he didn't really do too much. Yang Gang had an interesting proposal or an offer. He was like, okay, I'm going to give 10 families $1,000 per month for a year. So $120,000, I guess, no strings attached. And he wants you to go to his website to do it. So his whole thing is, I'm going to shower you with gifts, give you money. The cost of the UBI for all Americans, no, $1 trillion. Oh, I got to talk about that. Throughout much of this so-called debate, there were humongous numbers being tossed around. We're going to spend $1 trillion, $5 trillion, $10 trillion. It's like, man, okay, let's pump the brakes. Okay. Do people really understand how much $1 trillion is? Look at it like this. To become a millionaire is a rare thing on earth. To become a billionaire is even rarer. There are no trillionaires, as far as I can tell. Maybe somebody like Jeff Bezos, maybe. But he got divorced, so that's a whole different story, and I digress. But I don't think any one person has $1 trillion, like, on earth. You got billionaires, high billionaires, like 10 billion, 50 billion, but $1 trillion. And even the people that have billions of dollars, that's not necessarily in liquid capital. Okay, that's a whole different thing. You got stocks and shares and whatnot. But anyway, my point is that they're throwing out these humongous numbers that are totally unrealistic. They might as well have said 1,000, 100 million, quadrillion dollars. The GDP of planet Earth is not even up to 100 trillion of Earth, of the whole planet, of all the economies in the world. You can't even get to 100 trillion. So you're going to spend $10 trillion. It's really stupid. It's dumb. You're going to bankrupt the world with your plan of, healthcare for all, UBI for all, free college, free K through 12. Oh, and also they talked about healthcare here, talking about they're going to eliminate private insurance. They didn't really want to say that. And I got to commend Joe Biden for kind of pressing them on that, because he's like, look, I want to have Obamacare. I'm not going to eliminate private insurance. Bernie Sanders was like, I wrote the damn bill. I know what's in it. But in the bill, he didn't want to address the fact that Amy Klobuchar brought up, which says you're going to not have private insurance anymore. They want to bring communism. That's the end game here. I think Andrew Yang is kind of on the communist tip. Same thing with Bernie Sanders and many others. Here's your stipend for the month, comrade. Here's your share pod. Live in this little cubby hole next to everybody else with no privacy. Live in there for a low amount of money per month. Here's your government issued protection device. You can't have a gun. It's like no freedom. That's one thing that was a unifying factor with everybody on stage, was the lack of personal freedom. I don't know about you, but I like my personal freedom. So everybody else, I think I got everybody. Oh, Julián Castro, he was talking about how Joe Biden was forgetting certain things. It was funny when he said that. The crowd was like, ooh. And I was like, nah, he was correct to talk about Joe Biden, how he's not really all the way there mentally. Now, he didn't say anything about Alzheimer's or anything of the sort. And then in the post-debate interview, he tried to clean it up, talking about, no, I was just saying he forgot. I wasn't trying. It wasn't anything personal. It was something personal. You were trying to attack Joe Biden because he's a front runner. That's what you're supposed to do. That's a natural, normal thing. But he didn't really want to own up to it. So at the end of this debate, I was kind of put off because of the way it ended. They had these really long closing statements about quote unquote adversity. It was really strange. It ended like 15 minutes early. It was weird. The debate, if you missed it, you didn't really miss much. All that you missed is the vision of the country that the left has, which they've been talking about for quite a long time in these debates. Everything controlled by the government, very high taxes, limited personal freedom, no guns, just control. I'm all about freedom, don't like control. I think I'll leave that right there for now. So what do you think? Did you see the debate? Who do you think was the winner? I think there was no actual winner on stage last night. I think that Donald Trump won the debate. Like I said, he had that banner in the very beginning, which was fantastic. Socialism kills, vote Trump 2020. And also, he looks like the actual adult in this whole room. Donald Trump, that is. All the people on stage talking about unrealistic things, Orange Man bad. He has the most sense out of everybody. Nobody on stage has a chance. The quote unquote front runner is Joe Biden. He could fall apart at any moment in time. Teeth almost fell out. Imagine him on stage with Trump trying to debate him. It'll be a bloodbath. He'd get washed off the stage. And anybody else, people like Julián Castro, you're going to put him on stage with Donald Trump? Look, I'm not a person that is judgmental about people's height, but they had to give Julián Castro a little step stool so he appeared to be taller on television. The guy's real short. And it was funny when Kamala Harris was talking about how Trump is like the Wizard of Oz guy. You pull back the curtain, it's really like this little small guy. And you had Stephanopoulos there. Stephanopoulos is like 5'4" max. And he said something about it. Oh, I ain't gonna take the bait. Even Kamala Harris on stage was talking about how size and height matters. Okay, it really does. It may not be right, but it's okay. The average height of U.S. presidents is 6 foot tall. So if you got a guy on stage that looks short, but was even shorter without his step stool, how are you going to put him on stage with a 6'3" incumbent Republican president with a strong economy and Donald Trump? Nobody on stage really has a chance. I think out of everybody, Pocahontas has the best chance to become the nominee. But when it comes to actually defeating Trump, it's not really going to be enough. So that is pretty much all I got. And whatever your comments are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.